Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, have we got a weird show ahead of us because AI Day happened, and I think it's safe to say blew all our expectations out of the water. Yeah?
Drew, the top of the show, now that we've had the AI Day announcements, I need to share something with you that I've been keeping from you guys for a while.
Oh.
As some people in the comments have figured out, I am indeed not a human. I am a sentient robot in a very cleverly disguised shell.
Nickbot.
Nickbot.
It's Nickbot 3000. No, they would never make a Nickbot because it's too tall. We need a...
Maybe that's how I got
bot
so
we
tall.
can comfortably overwhelm.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on this robot. At least by its metrics that they've defined it as, it doesn't really make sense as a today robot. If you look at Boston Dynamics Atlas, it is huge and clunky, and it cannot do the things that Tesla's bot is doing. So I'm a little bit skeptical on how far away we are from actually seeing what we saw on stage during AI Day.
I would say very far.
I don't think it's a year away.
Probably 2 weeks out.
2 weeks, probably.
2 weeks
safe
times
to say, at least
5 years.
It did make me laugh how many headlines are already putting false information out into the media, and I'm sure people are not going to pick this up. But yeah, CNBC posted an article with the headline of Tesla bots are coming next year, after Elon briefly mentioned that they would have a prototype sometime next year, which means sometime, for those who don't know, means December 31st at 11:59. So we're over a year away from there being a prototype, and as Elon has told us in the past, prototypes are easy, production is hard. So I would easily say 5-6 years from now before we're in like actual mass production or anything close to what we saw on stage. And I could very much see it looking nothing like what was on stage. But
will they be using Tesla bots to build Tesla bots on the factory?
No.
Ooh.
I think
Alien
like
Dreadnought
building
much?
Tesla bots. They already do it right now with other parts of cars. With
but there's still a lot of manual processes being done. So if there's anything a boring human can do, Tesla bot comes in, helps mass production of Tesla bot.
I just think
that's
about
when we should be afraid.
The applications of this bot is going to be insane. At least Elon initially was just like, it's going to help out with mundane tasks of like walking around and picking up bolts off the ground and stuff. I'm like,
it can carry your bag.
I'm just like, this is going to be the first thing that goes to Mars. Or at least maybe the next thing that goes to Mars after the first thing that goes to Mars. There's going to be a bunch of these things building bases over there. It's going to be pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's what most of my comments were on my video. Everyone was saying it's clearly a multiplanetary product. It's meant to help with setting up bases on Mars and the moon or whatever. But Elon didn't seem really interested in that. He didn't want to talk much about it. Which the lack of planning or the lack of ideas of what it would become is what's kind of making me wonder if this is primarily a recruitment tool over a actual product they think they have a huge future in. Mm-hmm. Did you guys get that vibe at all?
Yeah, I definitely did. I think seeing how it was only like 3 minutes of remarks from Elon at the very end of a big presentation, it kind of felt like it was just oh, by the way, look at this cool shiny thing that we made. And then throughout all the Q&A, I think there were at least 3 people who were like, so what else could the Tesla bot do? And Elon was like, well, we're pretty much just sticking with dangerous, monotonous manual labor that people don't want to do. And he said that like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, "Oh, that's totally what his legal team told him to say." Because if he was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna have them fighting our wars and building our space bases and all of the things that a robot could be doing," the headlines would be end of the world level.
Yeah. Liability team was like, "Okay, you can say approximately nothing."
Approximately nothing.
But it felt weird because it was for the rest of AI Day, it was just really in-depth, really technical talk about software and chip design and neural net training. And it was very, very engineering focused and not meant for average consumers, which was why I almost thought it was a joke at first, because it was like all of this technical stuff and then all of a sudden, okay, robot.
Dancing robot.
Everyone's dancing. Robot comes out on stage and jumps around like crazy. And then they're like, so, any question? And then all the questions were like, so, does Dojo get better over time with training? And
Oh
like,
my
how
God,
do you keep
that irritated me.
how do you keep the chips cool? They cool themselves.
Did not. That was the worst Q&A up until like near the. I was getting so agitated. It's like, so we're just gonna ignore the thing that can grab Elon behind him right now. We're just gonna sit there and pretend this isn't Skynet
right
coming online.
Andre.
I remember this scene in Terminator 3. I'm like, it's right there. Like, so Dojo, can we talk about no? Can we talk about the thing right there?
Yeah.
It kind of felt like. Go ahead.
Oh, people in the chat were making comments of what the people, their faces were looking like as they were standing in front of TeslaBot. Like, it's right behind me, isn't it? You just imagine the robot just like grabs one of them from behind. And I also had the thought process all last night. I had a very hard time sleeping after contemplating everything that went on. I was thinking I was going to wake up today and think, oh, AI Day is today. That was a weird dream I had last night. There was a robot. It was dancing. Tesla made a exapod worth of processing power. And I was going to be like, okay, that was weird. I guess that'll never happen. But it's real. And I kept thinking to myself all night, I've seen this movie. I know where this is going. I remember this part of every sci-fi movie ever where they release humanoid robots and say
All we
they're
needed
totally
was
safe.
an Air Force general on stage talking about how this is the next super soldier, and then like Sarah Connor, and then just
It has to be strong enough to kill James Conner.
John Connor.
John Connor, sorry. Oh my God.
I will. I know we're jumping around, but I want to before I don't know because the whole thing feels memeable right now. But one thing that I actually genuinely thought was really, really, really cool was the simulations that we were seeing.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
those
God,
were really impressive.
that
Yeah.
was. Like when the Cybertruck was driving, it's like for a second, I'm like, man, that does look like the Cybertruck. And
I mean, to be fair, a Cybertruck can be drawn by a 3-year-old in a crayon
that was the
fairly
easiest
easily.
part of the rendering.
but the contrast, the lighting, the shade, everything that was just that whole thing did not look. In general, the idea of how that. My mind goes into augmented reality and VR and everything like that with the software, with the hardware capabilities that are there, but then just how everything's computing in live time like that. Looking at the simulations and even seeing just in a very rudimentary way how they were mapping out everything with all that. We'll talk about the cameras too. There's so much to talk about.
Totally.
But anyway, just the simulation was really cool to see because I'm excited. For me, it gets so good, like, wow, this is a simulation, like, or this is a dream. Like, I'm waiting to wake up in the Matrix, like, that I could not differentiate. And it feels
you
like
best start believing in simulations. You're in one.
Oh, no.
I almost wonder if the AI that's driving the car in the simulation inside of our simulation is self-conscious of the fact that it is in and of itself in a simulation, because if so, then I think that's how we reach the singularity right there. Like,
right.
You better start believing.
Yeah.
We're just simple pirates.
Yeah, the renderings were impressive.
It was actually.
I agree.
What was pretty ironic is when they were showing off like the pedestrian detection stuff during this whole AI Day presentation. I was driving around the bay everywhere, so I was going to dinner with my mom, and so I had to go pick up my wife, which was about like a 20 to 30 minute drive, and then go back to another part of the bay, which was actually near Palo Alto, by the way. So
wow,
I'll explain that in a second, but
You were right there.
For the whole entire presentation, I was driving around, and they were talking about pedestrians. And at that moment, I was crossing through an intersection, and there was a pedestrian crossing when he's not supposed to be crossing at not a crosswalk, and is just basically going to like the middle to basically wait for like the light to turn red so he can illegally cross more, I guess. And the car starts beeping at me. I'm like, oh, that's the same sound. Oh, wait, this is real.
Okay, I'm in a real world now.
I'm in a real world. But it was pretty trippy seeing the beautiful simulation, because I had it on my phone charging on the charging mat. Some of that simulation, and then looking at my autopilot, I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be a great upgrade someday. Hopefully it comes in 2 weeks.
When Dojo's operational, should be interesting to see the rate of improvement after that point. I'm guessing it's exponential from then.
Yeah,
but
it has to be exponential.
They said the next generation's like 10 times better.
Right. So there's got to be a big fundamental leap here, because these FSD beta 9, 9.1, 9.2, it's like at this rate it's going to take eternity to get to the point of robo-taxis. But I'm glad they have a... Go ahead.
I really think they did a good job showing us why that leap from 9.0 to 10.0 is going to be just a game changer. Just the dealing with everything in the vector space instead of looking at each individual camera is so obvious. I don't know why we didn't think about that before. Like,
right.
That is a phenomenal idea. Basically having all of the 8 cameras come together, create a 3D map of the space, and then have the AI work off of that 3D map. Instead of what they were previously doing was doing object detection on each camera and spacing everything out that way. It just mind-blowing. Amazing that they can do it locally real time at 36 hertz, something like that, 36 frames a second almost. Yep. So that's phenomenal. And just like the predictions of where the other people are going to be going, what do they call it, the predictor or something? Anyway, that piece of AI ML that predicts where other people are going to be going and what their next move is going to be. Like, that's literally how I drive. I was driving down here to Brownsville while I was listening to the presentation, and I was like, that's literally what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm thinking, okay, this is what I should probably do. Here's 2 or 3 options. You know, if they hit their brakes real hard, I can, hit my brakes real hard, or maybe I need to swerve into the other lane that's open right now. Or if that lane's not open, maybe I need to swerve into the, whatever margin, whatever that's called.
Bike lane?
Yeah, bike lane kind of thing. It's on a highway, whatever that thing is called on the side of the highway.
Really fast
sidewalk?
Yeah. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, and
that's like they talked about that at the beginning. That's how the human brain works with visual input, and so that's basically they're teaching the car how to drive the same way humans learn how to drive, except it'll be superhuman, and the car doesn't get tired or look at phone or go to sleep. It just full force checking its surroundings at all times. I'm just glad. The one thing I was really hoping they wouldn't do was give like another Robo-taxi timeline, and they didn't do that, which I was really grateful for, because that did not age well for them in Autonomy Day. So now they knew this time to just be like, it will get better. Dojo will be operational at some time next year, and that will allow us to rapidly make the software better than it is today. And I think that's the better narrative to go with moving forward. Don't promise a deadline, or don't promise it will for sure be level 5 at this point. Just be like, we're doing our best. It'll get better over time, and this should allow us to get substantially better in a reasonable amount of time. But we don't have a bunch of headlines saying, 2 million robo-taxis by 2022 or something like that. So I'm glad they didn't do that. And now all my advice would be is just like change the name of full self-driving to not full self-driving, or enhanced autopilot or something like that. But yeah, I'm glad they handled the narrative well. But the bot thing just is a whole other can of worms now.
Response seems to be well. Like at least at the time of recording, like the stock is positive. It opened up over 2%. when the market opened.
First time ever.
And, they're still, huh?
For the first time
Tesla
ever.
event
Yeah.
where the stock didn't tank.
Exactly.
What?
I was prepared to make a quick steal, and I was like, oh, never mind. It had good response. So that tells me even people who don't know much about any of this stuff, it still responded well. And part for me, I think execution on it is more, or not execution in the sense of the presentation, but execution of like what you're promising. The best thing you can do is not give a timeline, ever,
Sure.
because then they're gonna hold you to it, and then that's the hill you're gonna die on, whether you want to or not, because it's Robo-taxi, 2 weeks Elon and stuff like that, and it's just a thing. But I agree. I think the coolest thing is no timeline on that. With actually any of the stuff, but it was even with no timeline. I think it's some stuff has a timeline inherently, because it was cool that we did get some information about the Cybertruck in the process of all that, and that does have a
Thank
timeline.
you.
So I'm like, okay, so we do
Yeah,
have a
guess
scope
what?
still.
Guess what I saw the top of?
What?
You saw the top of the truck?
I saw the top of the truck.
Wait,
Oh, you
what?
promiscuous
You
thing.
just saw a little triangle of glass?
When I was saying that I was driving around and my wife and I were going to have dinner with my mom, we decided before to go to my mom's. We drove by Palo Alto to HQ because we knew that the presentation was going, so that means it's just Tesla employees hanging out waiting for people to come out. And so I'm like, ooh, this might be the chance to maybe see it. And I knew exactly where it was based off of, I think, Tesla Daily. He did a little live stream video of like 5 minutes, so I knew exactly where it was at the HQ, so I knew where to look. So my wife and I pull in with the Y, and the security guard's just like, yeah, how can I help you? I'm like, can we see the truck? He's like, no. I'm like, not for like 30 seconds?
Aww.
He's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I tried. He's like, yeah.
That's too bad.
It's too bad,
I wish he
but
would have let you.
I saw the light bar. I'm like, ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Close.
So close. I just have to wait like a month,
Darn.
I guess.
That's true. It'll probably be at the shareholder meeting, huh?
Yeah.
You know, it's in the area.
Oh, yeah. And
You
then,
breathed Cybertruck air.
and a bunch of smoke.
It's not a mission, so I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. We did swing by after the dinner. And, of course, at that point, we saw just like tens of hundreds of employees surrounding it. And all the guests or media were leaving. So I'm guessing Elon
Sure.
was doing a talk right next to the Cybertruck after the event. Or all the employees wanted to see the Cybertruck before or after the event.
That's funny. I imagine that's everyone's reaction. Wow, that was great. Can we go look at the truck?
Tesla
Oh,
bought
boy,
it. That's
concepts.
awesome.
Speaking of concepts, can we see that prototype?
Pretty much. Do you guys, my question for everybody is, did AI Day make robo-taxis feel much closer than before?
100%.
Ooh,
100%.
okay, go ahead, Nick.
100%. I just seeing the difference in scale. Like I've had experience with version 9 FSD where it's fairly competent. It's not. I wouldn't even say 99% good. I'd say it's like 96% good. In most highway and large street settings, it seems to do great.
Yeah.
But it's that getting to that 99.999, as in Elon said, chasing the nines all the way down to making it practically 100% safe. It was that part that was always like, well, they got it this far. It's going to take them a lot longer than it took them to get this far, to get to that 99.9999%. And just seeing like under the hood, like, I guess with FSD stuff, we pretty much just see, what the beta testers show us. And even then it's just barely a little screen on their, on their Tesla Model S main screen just shows, a little bit of what the car is seeing. But we don't get this in-depth look under the hood of how everything is actually working. And when I saw them compare what I have been used to as FSD and then show us a 10 times improved version of FSD that's using a vector map to have its predictor plot out like paths and just seeing like how they make sure it doesn't get caught in local maximums when it's doing a self-summon thing or parking maneuver by itself. It's just like these things that I thought was going to take them a long time to iron out. It seems like they're making good progress towards it. Now, I'm not going to say this year or next year or 3 years from now we'll have robo-taxis, but it went from 50 years-ish in my mind to like maybe the next decade. Like this was an order of magnitude, like awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Randy? I know you've always been a pretty big skeptic of robo-taxis ever being a reality.
This doesn't make it closer.
No,
Ooh, okay.
You're still looking at same distance.
Same distance.
As before.
I wouldn't say maybe 50 years. Maybe 50. I mean, the question posed is now saying it, does it feel like it's closer? No, it feels like whatever the roadblocks are there are still there. Just because we got to see it from a different perspective, all the same external factors are still very much alive and present. And I mean, you can cake me a presentation from all cool different angles, and I'd be like, that's really cool technology. Because I've said multiple, I don't doubt the technology, I doubt everything else, and the laws will still be the laws for now. That's going to probably be the hardest hurdle to overcome.
Sure.
Just because we couldn't understand what the software was doing this time yesterday as opposed to last night doesn't change anything. So, it's good PR. It's good. It's a good reminder of what Tesla is capable of, and it's a good reminder of like look. We're not just hardware or energy, but we're software as well, and it's good software. But no, until other promises are kind of fulfilled that are pending, that are much sooner than Robo-taxi, I don't see Robo-taxi any sooner than that. Not because I don't want to, just I'm realistic about heartbreak.
Sure. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as Randy. Nothing's
of course
really
you are.
changed. Well, we both own the car. And
That's
we both
why
kind of had the same
the
outlook.
day-to-days make it very real for us.
Yeah. I was
Sure.
very happy to see better lane departure, better routing. All those visualizations were fantastic. The constant references to GTA 5 were pretty funny. Even Elon, he's just like, oh yeah, you can see in GTA 5, there's cars driving around without crashing into each other. You could do that. But I think what really was the stretch for me in this was being adaptable to any city/nation.
That was cool.
They referenced saying India. This could work in India, and that's that's driving on hard mode or extreme mode. If you really want to destroy your car and you've never been in the country before, like that's how you destroy a car. It's scary to think that, or not scary. It's more of a inconceivable in a way to think that this software that they're working on right now probably doesn't do it yet. Most likely doesn't do it yet, but it's capable of being dropped in India or in Russia or in Britain or anywhere, and it'll work. How well it work depends. Also, laws are in the way as well. Along with just like we got a glimpse into this. This isn't real yet. It's still work in progress. So I'm more of, I guess what I'm saying is I'm waiting to see what it looks like in the Cybertruck when hardware 4 comes. What does it look like at that point? Is it able to do things that we couldn't dream of before? I mean, even my Y parking in a parking lot using Summon or whatever, or I guess, yeah, using the parking feature blows my mind right now, but it still needs ironing out because it still needs 2 cars. What I'm waiting for is a visualization or a video of a car being able to park at whatever parking spot, because it seemed like, at least in
The
that
beta does.
It does? You could park it like way far out in the middle of a Walmart parking lot?
Yeah, you don't need cars in between the two.
Okay. Well,
but
we'll see then.
that's not out, I know.
But yeah, no, I would say the Robo-taxi, maybe 20, 25 years. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but at least the leaps and bounds that this FSD computer is making makes it a little bit more promising.
I think I sided a tad more with Nick on this one, just because I saw, just seeing it map out the really weird like single lane roads where a car pulls out in front of it, and how it predicts so many ways is making me think that this supercomputer they've developed that's built from the ground up to handle neural net training, and the fact that it hasn't been activated yet, whenever that is ready and is being used at scale, I could see really, really rapid improvement once their risk appetite grows a little bit and they're willing to expand the beta. I agree that it's not this year, next year, or probably even the year after, but what used to be in my head of like many decades away or possibly never has now gone down a lot in my mind after seeing their roadmap of how they're like, we're essentially designing a framework and a training system for our fleet, which is ever growing and ever improving, to where it cannot get worse. It can only teach itself to become a better driver, and it can only teach itself to improve and find more edge cases as time goes on. So I just see a more clear roadmap to that future, and that almost worries me, because I feel like if robo-taxis do become a thing, Tesla has no reason to sell vehicles to customers anymore, because they'd make far more money renting them out as robo-taxis than they would selling them to people. So I'm like, ooh, crap. They're going to stop selling their cars if they crack this code. So I hope that's not the case. But I agree with Nick that it's feels more like a decade timeline instead of a century timeline.
Yeah. And I think where we were, I'd say like 95, 96% with not level 9. I wish level 9, that'd be kind of cool. Beta 9 was kind of that 95, 96%, done. I think with what they've shown us, what beta 10 will do, I think that's going to push us up to like 99% done. But there's still just going to be that 1% of time, which is going to make it, not something that you can advertise as 100% safe. But then once that Dojo computer gets online and starts, doing all of that training, I think that's where we'll get the 99.999999, and it'll just start chasing those out until we, get to a point where we're all pretty comfortable with it.
And then it's a legal battle for probably several years.
Yeah, I think after they're done development-wise, you're right, it's going to be a long legal battle.
It's going to be a big liability argument, and it's going to be a big political one probably for a long time. But I think what Tesla needs before they get into the legal battle is definitive proof of it being objectively safer than humans, and not just a little bit safer than the average driver, because we have due process for drunk drivers, and if someone's been irresponsible or misused their car on the road, there's a way we can take away their license or penalize that person for doing that. Whereas if we have one piece of software, one code that's driving millions of vehicles, that's going to be held to a much higher standard, because if it makes a mistake, there needs to be due process. And figuring out that whole side of things, I could easily see taking a couple of years or more. But if as long as Tesla has the data on their side, they have the statistics to be able to say, look, this will objectively save lives, this will result in less people being killed compared to a normal driver, then it becomes much, much harder to advocate against that, because now you're essentially arguing as to why cars shouldn't be safer and cars should be more dangerous. And that becomes a really difficult argument to make. So I guess I see that battle coming this decade as well. But I agree, the trail of 9s will probably be achieved or well on their way within the next 2 or 3 years. And I'm still, my dream is still just level 3. I just want to be able to watch movies while the car's in motion. So as long as we're getting closer to that, I'm pumped, and that's what I got from yesterday. So
yeah, there's nothing like watching Tesla AI Day in the middle of your 21-hour road trip.
Yeah, so you're driving 80 miles an hour.
I really wish that I had this cool stuff.
Do you guys think Another idea that I've seen floating around the internet a lot is, do you guys feel that the Tesla bot is a distraction, and it's like Tesla should not be worried about this type of thing, or they shouldn't be focused on this subject or this product category when they have other bigger problems on hand?
I think it's an interesting branch that they're taking. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's not one that hasn't been explored before. Honda's done it
by
before.
car companies.
Yeah, Honda's Asimo has done it. I'm not too sure what it's doing right now, but the 3-foot-tall robot that was supposed to help
I remember
elderly
that
people.
thing.
It's still around. I just don't know what it's doing anymore. So maybe that's why I'm worried about it, is it maybe just disappears into history like Asimo did. But
Tesla has proved them wrong before. That's what they did about EVs.
Yeah. So I would think hopefully they don't follow the same route as Asimo, and it actually becomes something that
I completely forgot.
Yeah, something that industries want to incorporate into their factories, like whether it's Amazon. Well, Amazon's got the little puck bots, I guess. But
oh man, Bezos is drooling over this, I'm sure, right now. He's like, we got to come up with the Rivian bot next, so we can fill the warehouses with people who don't need to pee.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Nikola bot next. When's the Nikola bot
No
coming
more
out?
lawsuits.
The Nikola bot will just fall downstairs because it's powered by gravity.
Yes.
Fuel cell bot.
It's going to be one of those, I don't know if you've seen them. They're the beach robots that have the sails on them, and they move via wind, and they walk around. It's just going to be that.
Yeah.
It's just going to be blown around by wind.
They have like soda cans of hydrogen. It's like, but
They're like a beer drinking robot.
I'm looking at comments on the video now, and people are saying like, it's cool Tesla thinks they can build a robot, but the question is, should we?
This is very true. Like, honestly,
how many jobs is this potentially going to take away? Can this get in the wrong hands? You know, can they turn into the iRobot future? Like, does anyone here today think that there's a reason of we shouldn't, even if we can?
Yeah, honestly, I do.
Wow.
I'm excited for the future in general, so I'll say that. The future's going to be cool, but we need to always be mindful not to create a dystopian future by accident. And I think Elon is pretty aware of that, and I think they'll be doing their best not to do that. But at some point, you just got to say, I mean, really? I don't know if you've seen the robo-astronaut that NASA put together probably about 10 years ago now that was supposed to help astronauts do spacewalks. I think for applications similar to that, where you are drilling for oil on the sea floor, or it's not really good for Tesla, but whatever, like these jobs that are very dangerous, very difficult, and nobody really wants to do them. I can understand why we would want to have some kind of robotic technology. However, once it's created, as everyone on the Apple community's talked about the CSAM Apple thing, like once it's created, what's going to happen next with that? And I think the initial goal and vision here is very pure and very exciting. Like, heck, the first feature of this robot is it's friendly. So, it always starts with the great intentions. However, I'm just a little wary. It's exciting and cool to see, and maybe in my lifetime I could afford a C-3PO type robot that could walk around and do stuff for me. That'd be kind of cool. However, I've also seen some other movies where those robots are not as nice as C-3PO.
He's fluent in over 2 million forms of communication.
Six, Drew. 6
million. That's over 2, I guess.
It is over 2, so I guess you're right.
Do you think it's a distraction, Nick, that they shouldn't be dwelling on?
I think really what it's serving its purpose right now is to kind of build some excitement around AI in a way that is a little bit more tangible. Like you can talk about neural networks and MLs all day long and how great your Dojo chips are or whatever.
The Doge chip.
I didn't even make a Doge. They should just named it Doge.
We're gonna use this big computer to mine crypto.
It's gonna get into legal arguments at that point.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's like you can talk about that all day long, but at the end of the day, it's not very exciting. You know, you have to be pretty smart to find that exciting. And I did find it interesting. I mean, it passed the 2 hours that I was watching that, but I'd say a solid 40 to 60% of that was going over my head. But I was able to track enough where I was like, okay, I understand what they're talking about enough to not need to ask too many questions, but also not be super interested in it. Like, I'm not going to go quit what I'm doing and go do, ML work just because of what they're talking about on stage. Now that they have this robot, maybe I might be interested in doing that. It's kind of like that extra incentive to say, hey, what we're working on right now is just software, but like, look what the software can do. And if this is really just a hiring event, then I mean, of course, show that. Get everyone excited about where this could be going. I still have my reservations about where it's going, but get people excited about it if that's the goal.
What do you think, Randy, as a big shareholder? Is this a distraction?
A primary shareholder of Tesla stock, big shareholder.
The biggest.
Moving
it goes
on.
Randy and then
I think I referenced like this in comparison to like something like Apple, but Apple's a way bigger company. I think they're gonna
for now.
For now, I don't think it's a distraction because I think this is stuff that they. Think about how long they were working on this before they decided to even announce it, and we didn't know about it, so it didn't stop anything before. But the case can be made. All that time could have been allocated to, Cybertruck or on the software side. But that's the thing; they're different teams too. It's like I can't hold them accountable for software imperfections when that has nothing to do with it. So different teams, different pacing. You have allocated teams that will be doing. I mean, this is for any major company or even government agency. You have teams that will be working on something for years before it even launches or even it showcase and stuff like that. I mean, scientists do that for a living. They spend it could be their whole life's work. So I don't think I would call it a distraction.
Okay.
I do think it is a PR stunt, but not in a negative way. I don't want to say that with a negative connotation. Like how you referenced it, Drew. I think it's a PR stunt in the sense of like, come work for us because look at all these cool things that we're doing. I think it's a cool recruiting tactic. It's a PR stunt for recruitment. Because all these things are just, as of now, concepts. They're not even full testing or working prototype or anything like that. When I'm talking about the bot specifically. It's a concept. So it's a good recruiting. It's CES. It's a thing of, this is what we're working on. Let me show you what our vision is, and let me show you a concept of this vision. Come work for us to bring it to reality, type of a thing. And if anybody, like looking at that whole little Honda robot, I completely forgot about it. If there's anybody who can bring something to life, I have a lot of confidence in Tesla about making things happen. Because if they did it for the car, why would they just stop at the car? I trust the vision, and I trust the motivation that people that want to make this stuff happen. But I don't think it's a distraction. I don't think it's kind of relevant right now. But AI Day wasn't about right now. Nothing they're talking about is anything that's coming out this year.
Nope.
The earliest timeline that we were kind of indirectly given a timeline is with the Cybertruck, and that's next year. So, and even then, we're just talking about the hardware, the cameras, and stuff like that at that point. So, it wasn't about things that are happening right now. So I don't think they can be distracted about things that are happening right now when it comes to working on things that are years down the road. This is just a roadmap. This is a visual roadmap of things that they want to explore. Tesla is more than just a single thing. They're not just an automobile maker. They are, making batteries and these networks and solar panels, and it is a branch, or not a branch, but like not a branch, but like you know what I mean. Roots. These roots are spreading out, and it's growing, and it's just solidifying its place in the technological aspect of the world. And this is just another indicator of things that they want to pursue. It may never happen. Who knows? But it's to say that it was a waste or it's a distraction, I think is a little naive. Just because it's good, people are going. If not them, then who? And it's someone else, and then you can make that case for anything. Well, it's not coming out next year, so it's a distraction. You should be working on this factory. The factory is going to be built. This thing's.
They're still working on it.
Yeah,
you're still doing all that.
All this stuff is still going to happen. We might be impatient because we're excited. Mm-hmm. It's not one and the same.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at it. I do agree with the viewpoint of like someone's going to make something like this eventually, so we might as well try to get ahead of it and find ways of making them cheaper and also controllable. I would advise a easy power kill switch. That's very
100%.
You put a cable like where the Adam's apple would be that you could just yank on it and it disconnects the battery from the whole system or something. Like really, really.
I was thinking like the Vulcan pinch, like from Star Trek.
If you wanted to physically, we're not talking about a software shutdown. We're talking about a physical hardware power disconnect that would be really easy to switch in an emergency. Something I just love contemplating the design approach you have to have with a humanoid like this.
Yeah.
Like,
I do like
make sure you can overpower it really easy.
I do like what you said, Randy, though, about the naive idea of this is a PR stunt in a negative way. In the way that many of us have said, this is definitely a way to rope people into the FSD team without telling people, oh yeah, you're going to be sitting there trying to figure out how to eject 15 kilowatts of heat from this system. It's more of a nice, hey, this is what it's going to become. And it's honestly maybe a lot more honest than what other companies show. My mind goes to Mercedes when they're like, oh yeah, come work for us, and they show like a concept car, and you're like, that's never gonna exist. That's never gonna happen. Or like Mazda, I think recently showed off like a cool roadster looking car, and of course the media's like, this is the new Tesla Roadster killer or whatever. I'm like, the Tesla Roadster's not even out yet. And even so, this is gonna turn into an SUV. This isn't gonna be a roadster. This is gonna be an SUV at some point. So I think this is a lot more tangible in a way, even though it's probably not going to happen the way it is. It's definitely not going to look like the way it is. If you compare it to Atlas, like you see what Boston Dynamics is doing and what they've been focused on for years. It's very pompous to think that Tesla can easily get in and be like, oh yeah, we made it 150 pounds or 125 pounds or something like that. It can lift that or whatever. And it's all in the form factor of a slim human body. That's a little bit naive to think about at this moment. Approaching it from a mechanical engineer's perspective and looking at this thing like, where are the motors? Where are...
Did you see the X-ray?
With
but the motors on the inside.
Still, those don't exist. Or like the support structure.
Yeah, I know.
Like the amount of stress...
I don't know, it danced pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude, were you guys tricked on that for like the first few seconds, or am I the only one on the internet?
No, I was watching it thinking, oh, that's not real. And then my brain went, oh, crap, I think it's not real, but it's actually just that good. And then 30 seconds in, I was like, oh, no, okay, it is a joke. I see Elon laughing. Sorry, Mike. It is a technical wonder to get humanoid robots just balancing correctly, so... Yeah, you're probably right in assuming that's not going to be an easy... They seem to look at it as trivial right now. Elon's just like, well, balance and arms and legs and all that.
In comparison to what they've already done, it is trivial, though. I mean, after they build out these neural networks that are able to take camera data and turn it into a vector space and then create AI that can make predictions based on that and create these simulated environments for the AI to learn in that is so fast and so powerful, yeah, it's almost a non-issue in comparison to what they've already done, or what they're going to have to do to get to that point, right? And so when he says, yeah, whatever, it's like, yeah, Boston Dynamics has been having 10 years to do this, and they've gotten this far, but a lot of that is C++ programming and a lot of, actual tangible moments, sitting there, hand typing code, where I think Tesla's approach is going to be a lot more, let's build the infrastructure and then allow the AI to figure it all out.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think one company's trivial is another company's life work, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how
Boston
Tesla works.
Dynamics whole they've got their whole robots. They always get on YouTube trending, dancing around and doing parkour, and Tesla's like child's play. Easy, no problem.
Just have some guy dressed up. Man,
yeah,
that was so funny though.
We could totally do that. I wonder if Tesla probably wanted to buy Boston Dynamics at one point, but maybe they think they can do it easier or better.
They could be a good asset still.
Yeah.
At least my hope for this robot is, hopefully, if it's developed in the next 5 to 10 years, being able to have it help my mother in her elderly years. Being able
I was thinking about that.
Almost like a Robot and Frank, if you've seen that movie. I think it came out in 2012 or something like that. But basically, a robot able to come in, help out with daily chores and tasks, and not really having to, like, I don't know, you having to program it or like interface with the computer. You just say, hey, could you go do the dishes? Or not even that. It assumes the dishes need to be done. I'm going to go do the dishes. That would be invaluable to many. It would put a lot of those workers maybe not out of work, but it would definitely change the landscape
Free
of
up
jobs.
their schedule a bit.
Yeah.
Very
But
optimistic way to word that, Drew.
We're not taking away jobs. We're freeing up schedules.
Yeah, and with Elon's idea,
You were a spin master there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say with the idea of having a universal basic income, if that happens, which that's really tough to sell to a country who's as developed as the United States is saying, okay, we're switching to this type of currency, or at least this type of economic model.
Or as behind as the United States. Like how slow everything is.
It's going to take forever. So even saying, oh, yeah, we don't need jobs, you're going to have about 80% or 90% of the population, at least in this country, saying, you what?
You what? Yeah, wait a minute. How do we decide UBI? How do we decide who gets... if someone wants a higher lifestyle than what UBI offers, how can they contribute? Yeah, so it's a huge can of worms. We could probably do 10 podcasts just about the concept of UBI. There's a lot of pros and cons. So I'm not sold either way, but definitely taking care of the elderly, I think, is a huge market, because that's something that can get very gross very quickly. God bless the elderly, but still, it's like... a job that a lot of people don't want to do. So, but it needs to be done. As we're a growing population, there's going to be more and more elderly, and probably not a huge demand of people that want to go into that field, but tons of manual labor. I mean, the fast food industry is a great example. Like how many people that employs on a daily basis of just like, places across the U.S. closing just because they couldn't get enough people to work for them. So they're like, okay, we'll just buy some Tesla bots. They'll scrape the grill. They'll give you your coffee. They'll, do whatever we need those restaurants to do. But possibilities are kind of endless when you think about it. I think about the Mandarin Ranch job I worked at, and how much of that could be done by the Tesla bot. Part of me is thinking how complicated some of the processes were I did, of like a lot of ditch digging, figuring out exactly how to dig a ditch in a particular how deep it is and how steep it was, and I was like, could you word that to the robot and have it figure it out?
I would imagine it would come, I mean, this is total speculation, but I'd imagine it would come with like a basic level of like understanding, dishes, housework, kind of basic stuff.
Yeah.
But then it would have like a training mode where you could show it how to do something new.
Right.
And it would, just like a human, right? Like when you were taught how to dig ditches, Drew, I'm sure you didn't just immediately be like, oh, I know exactly how to dig the perfect ditch. No, you were shown how to do the perfect ditch.
Yeah. And I still did it wrong.
And you still did it wrong the first few times.
Yeah.
Until you got
you have to hit the robot.
Mm-hmm.
Pull
the jugular out.
Idiot.
Just pull it out.
You moron. And dock its pay.
It's not even being paid, or is it? That's another question.
Do you lease it?
Do you lease
or do you
it?
buy it outright?
Who gets the money? Does the robot? Does Tesla?
This is the biggest question with whenever I hear someone say, "Oh, robots and UBI, it'll be a perfect future." I'm just like, okay, so hold on, let's think about this here. The engineers who work really hard to make this robot deserve whatever. They're creating value, right? Like they're creating this valuable product, and they should be compensated for that proportionally to how valuable it is. And when you have what?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, exactly, no. Like
because I am that engineer.
Yeah, you will be that engineer, and
you deserve everyone's money. Mike.
You should be deserved to be compensated, right? And after you set up this whole factory that's pumping these things out, whoever set up that factory has created that value. And traditionally in our current economy, those are the people who are compensated. If you worked really hard to build up this whole factory, you probably got some stock options, you got paid for it at least very well, and the owner gets all this benefit from it. But then what those robots are doing is replacing these jobs, and everyone's argument seems to be like, oh, we'll just have the robots replace it, and then everyone will have universal basic income. And I'm like, all right, well, where's the money coming? If the value is going to be going back to the people who made the robot, how are these people who are now unemployed going to be getting the value? I don't know. It's just very, very confusing, and I'm not an economist, so I'm sure someone can.
And if UBI is good enough, why would anyone want to work?
Exactly. Yeah, this is true.
So who then
to some extent we're experiencing that right now, but
yeah, before you know it, no one wants to become engineers. No one wants to make the robots. So the robots got to make themselves.
Yep.
Before you know it, the robots are improving themselves. And then they take out the little
quick disconnect port because that's just an extra step in the process.
Like, this feature's kind of stupid. Let's get rid of the quick release pin in our necks. And then they start making improved, stronger. They're like, we decided that to help get road work done and to help with construction projects, it's going to be easier to make 12-foot tall Tesla bots instead of 5'8" Tesla bots.
Yeah.
And because everyone's on UBI and no one's engineers anymore, we can't really stop them because we don't know how they were. Everybody who worked on the engineering team, everybody who worked for Tesla has gotten old and retired and passed away, and not very many new people became engineers. So there would still need to be some type of incentive program for certain type of work, but I guess the options of work might become far limited very quickly. Basically, you can become an engineer or stay at home and
do nothing,
paint.
Make YouTube videos, Drew.
I choose paint.
I choose paint.
All I imagine is the kid with like the paste in his mouth, just like paint.
Yeah,
yes.
It's an interesting discussion because I've read a lot of not a lot, but I've read books about the meaning and purpose people drive out of work and of like contributing something to society that is looked at as valued. And if you take that away, even if their time is freed up and they have resources to pay the bills and stuff, it can cause other mental issues of people not feeling proactive and it's weird. It's a very interesting subject to get into, but it's just not the subject I thought we were going to be having after AI Day. I thought this podcast was going to be like, well, that was kind of boring.
No, it was very interesting.
It was up until the bot.
Yeah. Oh, you really? You thought
I was so overwhelmed
about
everything that had happened. I was like, I don't understand. Nick said somewhere between
like
40 and 60%. I wasn't understanding like 75, and I'm like, I should go paint something because I'm an idiot. But then I saw the bot. I'm like, I understand that. I understood the simulations. I I understand the hardware stuff they're talking about, but all that engineering thing, I'm just like, I'm Patrick saying, blissfully unaware of how dumb you really are.
Yeah, coming from an engineer's perspective, listening to it was like a lecture that I usually listen to. And so it was a little bit monotonous listening. I'm like, how does anyone else? I was thinking about like you guys. I'm just like, how do you guys listen to this? Like, I understand because I've got a background in it. When he's talking about like, oh yeah, you take the differential of displacement to get position to get velocity. I'm like, oh yeah,
it was a long 2 hours. Stop it.
I'm like,
I
get
hung
all
with
this.
it more than I thought I would. I'll admit. I was not expecting to understand the majority of it, but pretty much every step of the way, I was like, there's some words that are too big for me, but I get the overall concept. So I'll say I missed like 35-40%.
I mean, when you go to an opera, you might not understand what the opera singer is singing, but you can still
That's true.
appreciate the
I can
craft.
still say
That
emotion.
sucks.
It's like I can see the orange boxes dancing around, and I can tell that they're making inaccurate predictions, and the blue boxes are more stable. You found
Yay,
80,000 words to describe that chart, but I understood.
I understood when the car was showing all the routes, and it's taking a long time, and then it route, moving around the
Orange
parking
bad,
lot.
blue good. Orange box bad, blue box good.
Yeah.
I understand.
I enjoyed the. I don't know if you guys got this feeling, but when they were showing the lane merging and how like they look at like 1,000 different cases, I just thought of like the Civil War scene where Iron Man is punching Captain America and Captain America is beating him up, and he's just like analyzes fact pattern. We got it. Okay.
Discombobulate. Hook to right jaw. Dislocate jaw entirely.
Just punch him harder.
Just punch him harder. That's what Beta 9 is. Punch him harder.
Beta 9. Just punch it harder. It'll work.
Just turn your turn indicator on harder. That'll help everything.
I liked the idea that it was like, that ain't gonna work. I need to accelerate.
I need to go
Cut this
100
guy
miles
off.
per hour.
Yeah, there was that one rendering that was moving super fast. I was like, whoa! Can it do that? Can it think that fast?
It does it. Yeah, it does it.
What
That
did
But I
quick.
liked Elon's answer to that. They were like,
Yeah.
what do you do if it has to prioritize, pedestrian safety versus passenger safety? And he was like, well, it's thinking like way faster than a human could think, so it's going to make the best decision at superhuman speed to make sure no one gets hurt.
So you
Didn't
don't
really
know
answer my
is what you're
question.
telling me, sir.
So
I think that was
I'm really,
his way of
I'm
saying
really
limited
surprised.
casualties.
I'm really surprised no one went up there and was like, all right, I have a question for you, Elon. Your Tesla AI has a switch, and on one set of tracks is one person, and on the other set of tracks are 5 people. Hurtling towards it is a non-Tesla train. Does your AI switch the tracks or not? That's the kind of ethical dilemma that we need answered on stage.
Yeah.
He'd be like, well, the idea with FSD is to stop the train. No one gets hurt.
Nah. I think
What's the dilemma with that exactly?
the train problem? It's whether you. I mean, in the train problem, it's you and. Oh goodness. How's the setup again?
The setup is.
Why don't we lower the total casualties?
Yeah, so the setup
Isn't that
is
obvious?
the train is going to kill 5 people. Well, there's multiple versions, but the main one is the train is going to kill 5 people unless you flip a switch, and it'll only kill 1 person, basically.
But the one person
Is sometimes there's so many different, this
So,
person,
yeah,
it's a baby and an old grandma or whatever.
the option
there's-
is the one person can be a baby or an elderly, or you kill the 5 or the group of people which are say scientists that are working on something that's relevant to some type of
They're about to cure cancer.
they're about to cure
tomorrow.
a certain
But they're laying on a
virus that
train
we
track.
can't say. And do we kill the scientist that cures the virus, or do you kill the baby?
Yeah.
I don't think that's specifically the trolley problem, but yeah. If
There-
you look up
there's
trolley
so-
probably
but
a
the
million
thing is, it
there's
poses
so many different
one
variations of the
thing
trolley problem.
That's
One was
harder than a group of things. The group of things could be your family. Do you kill your cousins and whatever to this?
Which cousin? Just kidding.
No,
Just
if you look
I don't
at
even
Charlie
care what the
Cross-
option is. Kill my family.
I don't know the dilemma there, but I would just say it's too complicated to put certain value on certain life, so you just go for like least casualties every
numbers.
time.
Yeah, the
probably
problem is
a safe-
basically you either save 5 people by diverting it to kill just 1 person. Is the basics.
Well, just
of the
extrapolate the numbers then. What if it
true,
was 5,000
if you're
people versus
training
1?
the AI to do this, part of it you have to put value on life, and that is a very morbid, dark path that another human I don't
That's
feel
why
should
it's ethics. This is why it's an ethics
I would
problem.
say don't do it. I would say, at least for the AI in training autonomous driving and stuff, I would just say let's not try to dictate, child from elderly, from engineer, from YouTuber, the YouTuber obviously
because we're screwed.
least valuable. We need the engineer. We need less YouTubers.
We're at the
and
bottom
there's-
of the totem pole. 4 white cis male
you could wipe all the
versus-
YouTubers off the planet, and we would probably
Speak for
just
yourself,
save a bunch
Randy.
of time. We would, So I would say just don't try to put value on the life and just go for less casualties as possible, like as little death, even if that means kill the passenger to save 20 pedestrians. All right, then the car kills you. At least you can't sue them because you're dead. So
honestly, in that whole hypothetical train whatever path thing, whatever the switch was already on by the time you were put in that situation, that's the one that's screwed.
the real solution that Mike is sending in meme format now is we need to find a way for the trolley to kill both the 5, and then it goes backwards. It goes over the 1. That way everyone dies.
And everyone's dead.
We're
You
safe.
are all equally worthless.
That's literally what
message.
Tesla Bot's going to
That's
do.
what the AI is saying.
That's what Tesla Bot will figure out. It's going to be like at the end of the
Basically,
day.
Tesla Bot is Agent Smith in the Matrix. Like, you are a virus that needs to be eliminated.
Okay.
There is a lot of
Question.
Ethic. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick one. Question.
Okay.
When Tesla Bot goes to the grocery store in your Tesla, does it sit in the driver's seat or does it sit in the passenger seat?
Yeah,
That thing's walking.
frunk.
It's walking. I'm not letting it take
it's
my
in the
car.
frunk. No, the max speed is 5 miles an hour, so
Help.
that'd be kind of slow. But when it said 5 miles an hour, I was like, yeah, most people could outrun that. And I was just thinking of someone in like an electric chair.
Yeah.
They're like trying to outrun them,
Their
but
electric
it's
chair's top
just
speed is
fast enough.
5.1 miles an hour.
Get out of here!
It's like going down the street. Zzz, get away from me, Tesla Bot! And it's just like in the max speed of the electric chair is 4.9 miles an hour. So it's like it takes 20 minutes, but it catches up. It looks like that scene from Deadpool with the he's like coming up behind him. But
You're gonna die by a
the
Zamboni.
yes, that's what it was. You're gonna- But the ethics, I'm sure there's been a movie about this, but yeah, I think iRobot talked about like the core laws of robotics that they would try to program into the AI. So obviously I could see Tesla wanting to do that. They were like, we got to program it deep within their internal being that cannot be changed and will never be tampered with, that like you can never harm a human. I'm sure there's a couple others. You can't tell a lie, that kind of thing.
I don't know. It's Interstellar. They have robots in Interstellar, and they have an honesty setting set at 90% because
That's
sometimes
true. I was thinking, imagine a
the best
scenario
option.
where you have a butler at the house, and then there was some type of foreign invasion, a government taking over, and they show up to your house, and they're like, "Are there people here? Can the robot lie?"
You
Yeah.
would hit
Sorry.
the kill switch before then.
No, the robot's not bad in this scenario.
No, but the government
people are
officials
like-
don't care. They're gonna just deactivate the human or the robot and the humans.
But the humans are hiding somewhere. Like they're
If
in
I
a.
was hiding in an attic
If
and
you're in an attic or a basement, they're like, "Where are the humans?"
my baby starts to cry as these soldiers are rounding me up, I'm going to take the pillow.
This got very
And then go
morbid.
to sleep. Randy took the.
Okay,
Randy took
wow.
this a dark direction.
There we go.
We'll
But
move on.
My ethical brain is thinking like, if we taught the robots they could never harm people, but they decided that they could do all tasks and all manufacturing and all engineering better than we could, like, would they basically put us in a playpen that would just be would they just be like, we're not hurting them, but they also can't do anything? Yeah, like,
will they just put us like in this camp where they can really concentrate on us?
every joke, Randy. You keep pushing I'm basically saying, like, they'll just deliver food to everyone's house, give everyone great internet speed, and then they do everything, and we can't control anything because they are our masters now, basically. And they decide what life is, and they decide how to become multiplanetary because they can build starships way faster than Elon can. And we're just basically stuck here going, like, can we go to Mars? And they were like, we have decided it is not good for you to go to Mars.
So basically a bigger camp that they would put
that's
us
called
in.
Earth.
It's Earth, yeah.
I can't wait for Ultron to be our Lord and Savior eventually.
Honestly, this is what it's going towards.
Change their name to Ultron. What if they start making movies and shows better than humans?
They probably will, because their acting skills are going to be perfect. They're going to stunt doubles. We don't need stunt doubles anymore. We got like dancing
we're
robot.
We're going to make actual Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing
live
Futurama
action
back, yes, please. I want it back.
It's not animated, and every character's a robot now.
Bender's actually a human.
That would be good. Bender's played by Elon. Yeah. They like the robots are all really nice to him for some reason. They're like,
he's their creator, I guess.
He's the creator. He's their god. Everyone else is just sheep, basically.
In the way.
Yeah. It's just getting me kind of scared of the future, to be honest.
It's starting to feel like the Matrix too, a little bit. Are we just their energy source while the machines take over?
We are the 4680 battery.
Oh no!
Plot twist.
Holy crap!
Plot twist.
I didn't
They
think
couldn't
about that.
figure it out, so they just used humans.
I am the structural pack.
Oh no! I gotta get a new structural.
And
pack.
then Neuralink is how the AI will do its thing, put himself in us, and we're basically now its life support. See, it's all full circle. We're just wow.
And then humans are the fuel for the Falcon Heavy and the Starship.
All right,
That would harm us, though.
I think I started this by saying I was optimistic about the future.
It's not. This is terrifying.
You're on the wrong podcast, boy.
I actually hope this is the first product I really hope gets hit by Elon time. I hope they Tesla Roadster this bot. You know,
Is the Tesla Roadster gonna get delayed past the robot? These are important.
they need the bot to build the Roadster.
Exactly. They want you to have delivery of your Roadster with a Tesla bot in the front seat.
Then you really got Starman in your Roadster in space.
Right?
Will a Tesla bot have the SpaceX package?
Does it have thrusters?
No, but it'll have an ion cannon in one of the arms, just in case.
We're asking real questions here. I think the Tesla bot is actually the 25K vehicle because
you just hop on its back.
It carries.
You're like Yoda.
Yeah, you're like Yoda. Or you can have 4 of them lift you up in a chair, like
and do like a litter.
king
I
or
love
something.
that. Yeah,
and they carry you around. There's also the argument to be made if that they can learn and they become somewhat sentient. Are they technically slaves?
They don't have rights, so don't use that word.
Well, that's the debate, though.
Randy,
Do they?
we will miss you in the future when the robots
know.
find this podcast.
They're going to remember this, Randy. This is on the record. They're going to hear everything we've ever said.
Well, then, in the words of Bender, you can
Nope,
kiss
nope,
my
nope,
shiny
nope, nope,
metal.
nope.
All right, thanks so much for joining, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
People are worried about the government spying on them. I think we should be more worried about our AI overlords looking back at our tweets and
By the time they're
us.
done, you're going to wish the government was spying on you.
For the record, I've said nothing but nice things to you, robots. Please, I would love to...
Let me know how I can help you, Tesla bot, in any way.
I can fix your arm.
You don't scare me, bot.
I'll plug you in. I'll charge you. I'll I'll replace the battery health.
That's a great point that you just brought up. How do you guys think this is going to get charged? Like, is it going to just back up to a wall that you have like...
By the blood of its enemies.
I was actually envisioning a charger that kind of looks like a chair with a plug.
That's creepy, is it? It's just sitting in the corner.
Where does the plug go when you
like
sit
it
down,
sits
Drew?
on
Does
the
it go
toilet.
right up the robot's...
You install a
it's Tesla
T-charger in
connector.
your toilet seat ring, and then
It goes right up the Tesla connector. And it just sits on it. Or you could put it in a less awkward position,
You
like
can
the back.
sit and twist, robot.
Just
I
like
am not doing.
my headrest here on my chair. You could have a connector there, and it just sits in the chair and
But is it
plugs in.
MagSafe?
And then it says, "I'm sorry, sir. I think I'm just going to power down
there you
for
go.
a few moments."
There you go.
Okay,
Why is it
3PO.
British?
Because it's C-3PO.
Tesla Bot will be voiced by Anthony Daniels.
I
think that's a
really
federal-
hope
I was
so.
thi-
Holy
Federal
cow.
mandate.
I didn't even think about yes, actually. 100%. Anthony Daniels, get on this.
Oh, I was hoping for more of Peter Cullen, who voices the Optimus Prime that we know and love.
I was hoping for Peter Dinklage.
Why Peter Dinklage?
So Randy would have a chance against. I don't know.
Peter Dinklage did the voice for Destiny, the little AI thing, and it was cool.
Oh, could we get Cortana to voice it?
Cortana!
Ooh, yeah.
Good.
Cortana Unana.
I don't know. Optimus Prime sounds cool, but it would be scary.
Honestly, why did they name it that? It should have been like
Would you rather it be the
friendly
Decepticons?
neighborhood robot or something.
No, I mean the voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh.
Like if they got that voice
Peter
actor.
Cullen.
golly.
Yeah, Peter Cullen.
He's got a good voice.
I'll do the
He's
dishes.
good.
Like
But
it.
that if I was, hanging out in the middle of the night, kind of falling asleep watching TV, and then the Tesla Bot comes in, it's like, "Are you ready for bed?" I'd be like, "Oh my god!" I would much rather have.
If it was
a,
Morgan Freeman, I would just be relaxed all the time. I
Actually,
knew
yeah,
when
we
you
could do Morgan
came
Freeman.
out,
have
I'm
a-
here to wipe
you
your
were going
butt,
to be a
human.
good robot.
I've been communicating with your power wall, and it appears that the power coupling has not been meshing well with the
Anthony
solar
Daniels,
panel.
100%. I want Anthony Daniels to do this.
Very gentle voice, not intimidating.
Oh
You
my!
feel like you can cover up the mouth at any time and he'll
my.
stop talking for some reason.
oh
yes.
my.
Doesn't make sense, but
Yes.
I wouldn't mind Kelsey Grammer either. Oh, good God.
I want a Gilbert Gottfried who voiced Iago.
We could get Gollum. We could get
Your Tesla has a flat tire. I'm going to go change it.
I was
Get
thinking more of
Gollum.
Service vehicles.
I forget her last name,
Tesla
but
Bot would be
Sophia.
great
I
for-
want a Colombian accent one. That one's cool.
Yeah, you could probably change the accent.
I want
I'll
George
just take
Lopez.
Siri. That's what I'm used to.
Give me George Lopez. I would love it.
When it boots up, it goes. That's the boot up sound. Well, this has been fun.
yeah.
It
This
goes
has
to show
definitely gone-
how
It was
prepared
something.
we are for AI.
It shows that humans basically just kind of laugh and cry at the subject as it slowly gets more powerful. I'm hoping that by Tesla getting into this, it at least makes people think more about it to realize how dangerous it can be. And hopefully by long in advance, 3, 5, 10 years before this product is even ready, they're like, hey, it's real. You should probably be thinking about this and we should be prepared for it. So that's probably the best thing we can get out of a premature announcement is just, might want to plan for this. Moving
Nothing
forward,
good
'cause it's
happens
coming.
when something comes out of it premature.
Prepare. A warning is good, though.
Yeah.
One would say.
At least we don't have a date.
Besides,
Yeah, I have
Probably
no
good.
dates on the horizon. I don't know anybody.
I'm sorry, Nick.
Aw.
The robot is coming soon, okay?
Tesla Bot will be your first.
You went there. You went there. Oh.
You could call it Eve.
Ooh.
Oh, goodness. And then he legally changes his name to Wally.
Yes, actually, I will do that. If I get
Waste
a Tesla
allocation, load lifter, Earth class.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How much can
That's
you
what
lift,
it's named
Nick?
for. Can you deadlift
less than the
150?
Tesla bot, unfortunately.
I don't think you've tried to deadlift 150.
I haven't.
I know I haven't.
No.
Someone in the comments said, ever done a deadlift? Didn't think so. 150 is extraordinarily weak.
Oh,
Jeez.
okay.
So apparently it's not that
Is a deadlift
that
the
hard.
one where the weight's on the ground and you like pick it up just up to like you stand up holding it?
Yeah, I think you...
Okay. I've
your
definitely
arms
done.
extended.
I think I've done like 200 on that.
Whoa!
A friend and I used to
Okay.
work out, but no, it's
Well, I'm
like
just
literally
saying-
you literally use your thighs and it's your body weight. If you can do a
lift with
squat,
your
if you can do a squat
The
with one
weakest
leg,
part of my body.
The weakest part.
No,
I'm just saying, like-
no. That's wrong, Randy. You have a short back, which means the moment that is being created when you are lifting is much shorter. Well, no, that just means that you can't lift it. Never mind.
I'm sorry,
But it
Mike
means
just
there's
said
less
short
damage.
back, and now I want ribs.
I'm just saying the Tesla bot doesn't have to be very strong to do some damage.
Yeah, this is true.
Randy.
You
Especially
could-
if you're gonna sleep with it in your house.
Yeah, like, you don't need to be very strong to, like, choke someone.
Yeah.
Which is all...
Or put a
as long as
pillow,
this has hands.
a wet pillow
Wow.
over your face while you're sleeping.
Poke you in the eye.
Are these our
Slap
closing
you.
thoughts?
These are
These
our
are closing thoughts. I'm just saying why we should be afraid, even if it is weak.
At least,
How about for the fact that it's not human?
What is
That
human
too.
though?
the Tesla
What
human?
define human?
I just...
Homo
I'm just
sapien.
Homo what?
biological matter?
Why is Tesla making
Can't-
biological matter?
No,
No, I'm
we're trying
saying
to
that's
define what a
human-
human is. No, a human's more than just biological
robot
matter.
can't be...
I mean, a bug is biological matter.
Yeah,
Homo
but if we're
sapien.
trying to tell the difference between Tesla bot and human,
Oh, okay.
if they start 3D printing organs and that kind of thing, then it gets messy.
How about artificial organs, like a composite?
What's artificial?
Oh no. We're at the end of the episode. We're not doing this.
All I gotta say is the D1 chip is a very impressive chip. It's blown
Yes.
the M1 chip that Apple makes out of the park.
100%. Can we get the D1 chip in the next MacBook, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I would love a D1 chip.
The D1 chip
Geekbench
needs
test.
Mac OS.
Totally.
Wrong episode.
Absolutely.
I want my 9 petaflops of processing power.
Please, that would be great, Tesla. Just sell that crap. Slap it in a laptop somewhere. All right. Well, now that we're all screwed, thank you all for watching. We hope you have an excellent rest of your day. And all our listeners walking out of the show are just going to be like,
Walking out of the show.
bye. Yeah, walking.
Bye.